my name is Barbara, and today I'm going to be showing you how to make a borscht. This is a traditional Russian beet soup, but I'm putting a little spin on it, and I'm going to make it in an Instant Pot, so it's going to save me a lot of time. Usually, borscht is made kind of slowly with making the broth from, let's say, a chicken or beef or something like that, and it's kind of processed all day long, so you're making a really rich broth from that, and then you're kind of cooking the ingredients just a little bit slower, so it may take a couple more hours. But today we're going to create a really good recipe that's going to take a little less than 30 or so minutes, and the cook time in the Instant Pot will be about 10 to 15 minutes, so it's really going to cut down that time. Now, what an Instant Pot is that it actually is an electric pressure cooker. So it's going to trap all that heat and all that liquid that's going to be inside that we're going to put in, and it's going to cook all of our ingredients pretty fast. And so we'll definitely see how that's going to affect the flavor, but I think it's going to turn out pretty great. Now, some of the ingredients that we're going to use here in a traditional beet soup or a borscht is usually it's made out of, or with meat, made out of like a beef kind of stew. And today we're actually going to just use chicken broth, but we're going to use a bouillon cube here. So it's what this typically is. It's that it's a bouillon. Instead of using a bouillon cube, what it is that it's kind of like a paste. So we'll use about 5 teaspoons of this with hot water, about 5 cups of hot boiling water, to create our broth that we're going to put into our Instant Pot. Now, for the vegetables that we're going to use, we're going to need 1 onion. We'll probably cut this one in half because it's a little bit bigger, and chop it up along with some chopped up red bell pepper, some grated 1 whole carrot, 2 grated beets, so this is going to be the beet in our beet soup, about half of a cabbage, and we're going to slice that up really thin and nice and shredded. We're also going to use about maybe half of this or so of potatoes. Usually you can use maybe just 2 russet potatoes and kind of cut them up into chopped little small cubes. But I'm going to chop these small little Yukon Gold potatoes because these are my favorite. And so I'm going to use these and I'm going to cut them up, and about half of this bowl or so will go into the Instant Pot. We're also going to use some lemon, so about 3 tablespoons or so of lemon juice, about 4 cloves of garlic, and we're also going to use about 1.5 tablespoons of tomato paste. This is a very important ingredient. It's going to be very concentrated tomato flavor. We're obviously going to use some salt and pepper, so that's going to be going in there, along with some fresh parsley that we're going to chop up, and that's going to be kind of our garnish at the end. We can also put a little dollop of full-fat Greek yogurt or sour cream to go along with it. So that's going to be just up to us at the end when we're plating it up. So, with that being said, let's go ahead and chop up all our ingredients using a food processor. Just to make our lives a little bit easier, we can get all the ingredients, chop them up, grate them as much as we can, all of our ingredients ready. So the best way that we are going to get our ingredients ready is we're going to give a rough chop to our onions, bell peppers, our carrots, and our beets, and we're going to throw them in the food processor. For the carrots and the beets, we're going to use the grate function in order to get them into a shredded-like consistency, and that way they'll be really tasty inside the soup. And so the next step that we're going to do is we're going to chop up our potatoes, and we're going to make the potatoes into small little cubes, and this will allow for it to be cooked through in the Instant Pot. We're also going to use our half of our cabbage head, and we're going to chop that up very finely so that it could be in a good consistency and also be cooked nicely in our Instant Pot. And now to wrap up our prep, we're going to mince some cloves of garlic, about 4 to 5 depending on the size. And then we're also going to take 1 lemon and we're going to squeeze it, and it's going to make about 3 to 4 tablespoons of juice, and that's going to add really great flavor to the soup. Alright, now that we have all of our vegetables all chopped up and ready to go, the next step that we're going to do is we're going to put our Instant Pot into the saute function. So we're going to saute our bell peppers and onions and all of our ingredients just a little bit before we add in the rest, and then we can just set it and basically forget it for about 10 or so minutes. So the first is on, and it's going to start getting hot. We're going to wait for it to just warm up just a little bit. And then after it's done, we will go ahead and add in all of our... Now that it's getting a little bit hot, we are going to add some olive oil, about 2 tablespoons in there. Just be careful because the pan is getting really hot at this point. So now that we added some olive oil, we're going to add in our bell pepper and onion. It's 1 red bell pepper and 1 small onion that's in here. So that's going to get a nice sizzle. I'm going to put that to the side. And we're going to cook this for about 2 or so minutes. And the 2 minutes will be just to get it nice and translucent, and not to overcook it or burn it. So we want to make sure to keep an eye on this because we're going to slowly add in all the rest of the ingredients as it comes. Now that our onions and bell peppers are ready, we're going to add in that 1 shredded carrot right in here. Make sure all the pieces are in. We're going to add in our potatoes. And that was about 2 pounds of cut up Yukon Gold potatoes. Then we're going to add in our 2 medium-sized beets, all the shredded beets in there as well. That's what's going to give the borscht its beautiful red color. And we're going to stir that up just for a second, just to make sure all the components are kind of mixed up in there, and just get a nice saute going. Now that we've added all of that, the next thing we're adding in is our shredded cabbage, so that's going to be important. And we want to go ahead and add in our spices, so that's going to be our garlic, our minced garlic, the 4 cloves. We're going to add that in there. We're also going to add in our tomato paste, and that's about 1.5 tablespoons of tomato paste. Put that in there. Okay. And we're also going to add our 3 tablespoons of lemon juice. And then we're going to add in the rest of the ingredients. The last ingredient that's going to pull all of this together after we mix it up just a little bit. Okay. Don't want to salt and pepper, but we'll add that in right after. We want to go ahead and add in our 5 cups of the chicken broth. And we want to make sure when we added in our 5 teaspoons of the bouillon cubes to our 5 cups, that's going to be the base of our soup. And if you need to add just a little more of the water in there, that's perfectly okay, because it can get a little bit, you want to make sure that you've covered the entire pot. You also want to add in your tablespoon of salt, or a teaspoon of salt and a half teaspoon of pepper. So we'll kind of add that in there. Go ahead and put the cap on. So we're going to use the cap. We're going to make sure it's closed, and you'll hear it'll go like that. There is a seal up here that we want to make sure is in the seal position and not the venting position. The red cap is down, so that's good to go. We'll go ahead and go to the keep warm option, canceling the saute portion, keeping it warm for right now, and then going to the pressure cook option and having it, making sure that it is on high, and then we will go down to 10 minutes, and what it's going to do is that it's going to beep when it turns on, and we'll see that go right now. And that's how we know that it is on. And so now that it's on, everything is sealed. It's going to start pressurizing, and then the pressure will have it cook everything within that 10 minutes. Go ahead and try it. It'll be really hot. Just like I remember it.